Hi everyone and welcome to Best Driving School official YouTube channel. My name is Ekaterina Carrasco and I am driving instructor here in Florida. In this video, we're going to help you to get ready for the most important steps in getting driver's license, the knowledge test. So let's get started. Welcome to our Best Driving School, and just wanted to introduce our school here. We're located in Miami, Florida, and we are a state authorized driving and traffic school, and also we're authorized for third party administration. So which means in our school you can do the written test, you can do the driving test, and you can do also drug and alcohol course. Everything is available to you guys online and also in person. How you can find us here, let me show you. So here is our phone number that you can use. You can just go ahead and call us 786-616-9381, or you can find us here. We're located in this address. We're in Miami, Florida again. And if anything, you can call us or leave us a message or use a WhatsApp if you want, whichever way is preferable to you. And we also have a website, bestdrivingschoolfl.com, that you can go ahead and check it and see if you need any other additional information, or you can go ahead and book an appointment. We also speak in 3 languages, so the 3 languages are provided all the time. We're servicing in English, in Spanish, and in Russian. All right, so let's talk about Florida driver's license knowledge test rules and reminders. Again, we're talking about only Florida state. It doesn't apply to each state in the United States. Every state has different rules. All right, so the first one is a passing criteria. So you'll be given 50 questions, and out of these 50 questions, you need to give 40 correct answers. It doesn't mean that you have to answer them like in a row. You just have to go and, answer every single question. If you don't know the question, you just go ahead and skip it. Again, you continue with your test. You see that you don't know the question, skip it. The system will automatically give you those questions again. It goes in a round. So you can just focus on the questions on the end, the questions and answers that you know for sure. Don't stress yourself on something you don't know, or you're maybe too stressed, you're overwhelmed. Just stop it. Think about it. If you don't know it, then just go to the next question. It's going to be so much easier. Time limit. You have 60 minutes to finish the test. You cannot go beyond this time limit. If you go beyond this time limit, the system will automatically fail you for that. The system warnings: do not minimize the test windows, close the browser, or leave the page. Doing so will result in automatic test failure. Yes, you cannot touch anything in the test other than the actual test page. It does look like a regular page on Safari or browser. However, do not click on anything else, because the system will automatically fail you for that. And you cannot actually say that you haven't done this in case you actually do this. The system will tell us for sure that you did something on the computer. So you don't want this happening to you. Do not linger too long. Staying on one question for too long may result in automatic test failure. Yes, it's true. Do not stay on one question for too long. If you don't know the answer for the question, you cannot stay on this page more than 2-3 minutes. It's recommended to go to the next question. Just keep it. You will come back to it again. Don't stay for too long. If you stay for too long and the question is not provided, the system will automatically think that you don't know the answer, or you try to use something else, like something else to help you. And the system will fail you for that. If you encounter any error, notify staff immediately. Do not wait. If you have something going on with the computer, it froze up, or the system logs you out with no reason, please notify the staff where whatever you go to a DMV, driver's license office, tax collector, or you do it in our school, you have to notify the staff immediately. So we can fix it, and then you continue your knowledge test. Here we go. Let's start our knowledge test prep. It includes everything that you need to know before you go for your written test. How you can study better? The only way that you can study better is just go ahead and Google Florida driver's license handbook, and you can download the official handbook, read it, and make sure you understand it, and then you go for the test. In this case, you for sure will not fail. Okay, so license classifications. We have two types of driver's license in Florida, which are commercial driver's license and non-commercial driver's license. There are two types. The ones that we need to, like, we're going to apply for regular driving on the road in order to have a small car and just use it for personal use, is the non-commercial driver's license. Commercial driver's license are used for everything else, for being paid, mostly for truck drivers. Those use trucks, they require you to have that commercial driver's license. You cannot just drive with whichever license. In this case, we're going to study for non-commercial driver's license. Non-commercial driver's license, it's Class E driver's license, and they allow drivers to operate non-commercial vehicles with a gross weight rating less than 26,001 pounds. So everything that's less. In this case, we have written tests that can pop up on your test. It's something similar. It doesn't mean those are the actual written test questions. There's something that's very similar to the one that you probably will get or you will not get. It's really like all the questions are random. And also, there is no way to find the original database for the Florida driver's license knowledge test, because it just doesn't exist. You cannot find it. You will not be able to find it ever. Everything that the whole internet provides, it's more or less alternative, like very similar questions. However, they're not exactly 100% authentic to the test. So the ones that we have here is written test question example. What does a Class E non-commercial driver's license allow you to operate? A, commercial vehicles over 26.1 thousand pounds. B, non-commercial vehicles with gross weight under 26.1 pounds. And C, motorcycles only. In this case, the correct answer is B, non-commercial vehicles with a gross weight under 26,001 pounds. So you just need to know this specific number. Also, when you get your driver's license, this number is going to be shown on the back of your driver's license. And it will say that, yes, you can operate with this driver's license only vehicles with gross weight less than 26.1 pound. So this is what you need to know for sure before you go for the test. What are the requirements for Class E learner's license and driver's license? So we have two different licenses. So we have the learner's license and the actual driver's license. The first one that you apply for originally is the learner's license. And in order to apply for them, you need to be at least 15 years old. So you cannot apply for that before. You need to complete the drug and alcohol course. Drug and alcohol course is like an official, very unofficial way of calling traffic law substance abuse education course, TLSAE. This is the official name. So in case you go on a test and one of the answers or questions can be about this traffic law and substance abuse education course, it means drug and alcohol course. And then also you need to pass the knowledge exam and also pass the vision test. Knowledge exam and the substance abuse course, drug and alcohol course, you can do both online if you're under 18. You can do both of them online on our website, bestdrivingschoolofl.com. Or if you're over 18, you still can do one thing. You still can apply for, you still can do the drug and alcohol course online. If you're over 18, you won't be able to do the knowledge exam online. It's only available, the knowledge exam specifically, for applicants under 18. Vision test is the one that you do at the DMV. At the driver's license office or tax collector's office, where you go in to print out your license. They do it right there. You don't need to go to another place. You don't need to go to a doctor. You cannot do it with any driver school or something. So you have to be only done over there. And the actual driver's license, you have to be at least 16 years old to apply for a driver's license. So it's a little bit different. So which means if you're 15 years old and you want to get the learner's license, you can go ahead and do it. But in order to get driver's license, it has to be 1 year, or you have to turn 18. So it has to be 1 year since the moment you got your permit. Everything under 18. So under 18, let me write it. I'm not sure. Doesn't look that good. So under 18, you have to wait 1 year, or you're turning 18 years old in order to get your license. And that's the requirements. So you cannot go at 15 and then right away get your driver's license. It's impossible. Let's say you're 16 years old, or let's say you're 17 years old. You applied for a learner's license, and then when you can do driver's license, you can do it only in 1 year. You can convert your learner's license into driver's license only in 1 year. So this 1 year, you have to hold this learner's permit. Driver's license, you have to be 16 years old to apply. You need to, if you do it first time, like you've never done anything before, you still need to complete the TLSAE course and provide required identification. Of course, every time you go to driver's license office, you have to provide the required identification, even if you go for learner's license. Pass the vision test, knowledge test, and the driver's skill exam. Yes, it's for everybody who's applying, let's say at 16 or 18 or after. If you're 16, like I said, you will need to wait 1 year before you do your driver's exam. But if you're over 18, everything can be done in everything together. So if you're over 18, you still need to do the drug and alcohol course if you never had any driver's license before. If you have a driver's license from your country, you don't need to do this. Provide required identification of courses for everybody. And then if you're over 18 also, you can do the knowledge test. And even at the same day, you can do the driver's exam. And they will do the vision test for you at the driver's license office. So that's the huge difference. When you're over 18, you can do all of this together in 1 day. You don't need to wait for anything. If you're under 18, you have a lot of restrictions. But the requirements for sure that you need to do towards your driver's license is you need to complete the drug and alcohol course, the TLSAE course, this course. You need to do the knowledge test. You need to pass the vision test. And you also need to do driver's exam. And here we have a written test question example. What is one of the requirements to get learner's license in Florida? And the A, be at least 16 years old and pass a driving test. B, complete the TLSAE course and pass the Vision and Class E knowledge exam. And C, provide identification and pass the driver skills test. Well, the third one is totally correct. You cannot just provide identification and do the driver's test. In order to get licensed, that doesn't work. Be at least 16 years old and pass the driver's skills test. Again, that doesn't comply with the requirements. And then here, we're talking about the learner's license, so this is going to be the correct answer. Complete the TLSE course and pass the vision test and Class E knowledge exam. This is everything that needs to be done in order to get the learner's license in Florida. On this slide, I want to introduce you to our prep test program online that you can do even on your phone. It's available on our website, bestdrivingschoolfl.com, 24 hours. You can just go ahead and sign in. It's just $30 and it will help you a lot to study for your knowledge test, for your actual computer test. Then also you can do the computer test at our office here at Best Driving School. Let us know if you need help. 786-616-9381. This is our phone number. Let us know. Okay, so the address and name changes. You must obtain a new driver's license within 30 calendar days of any change to your mailing or residential address. You may change the address on your driver's license or ID card by visiting the online website, which is on my DMV portal, .flhsmv.gov, or visiting your local driver's license office, center, or tax collector office. It's a requirement. So in case you need to change your address or you're changing your name, you're changing your last name, you need to also update this information on your driver's license. You cannot just continue driving with the old information, especially when it comes to address. Why it's so important? Well, we receive all the information on our official driver's license information, which mean when you need to renew your registration for the car, everything will be sent to your address that's provided on the driver's license. So let's say you applied for registration, but you haven't updated your information. So in this case, it will go to the old address, not to the new one. You will not receive it. Then also, I put here, so this is the vehicle registration form. This is how it looks like. And this sticker is the registration that you put on your license plates. The one that's here, it's probably like a notice for cancellation or maybe suspension of your license that the Florida FLHSMV, they send it to you on your address that's provided, again, on your driver's license. So if it was the previous address, you will not receive it also, which is bad because you're just not going to get it on time, or maybe you will never know it. You will never know what's going on with your driver's license. And then also the ticket. If you receive any tickets, especially if you were driving and you ran a red light, you will receive it on your address that's provided on your driver's license. So again, don't forget to update your driver's license information. And here is the question that we're going to talk about. How long do you have to update your driver's license after changing your mailing or residential address in Florida? So here we have three. So we have three answers. The 10 calendar days, it doesn't work. 30 calendar days. And 60 calendar days. 60 calendar days for sure doesn't work, so we're going to choose this one. So here's the correct answer, is B. You have 30 calendar days to update your address. It's actually a lot. So you have those 30 calendar days. Basic driving improvement course. Actually, there are two types of courses like that. So either basic driving improvement course or aggressive driver improvement course, ADI. So either BDI or ADI. The course that you must complete, a basic driving improvement course, if you want to retain your driver's license in the following circumstances. It means if you got a ticket and one of the requirements to retain your driver's license, or it can be to remove the points from your driver's license, is that you have to complete this course. So in case of what? In case you have you were a fault driver in a crash with hospitalization, you have 2 crashes in 2 years with property damage over 500, convictions for running a red light, passing a stopped school bus, racing on a highway, or reckless driving. So the question can be something like this: in which of the following situations are you required to complete a basic driving improvement course in Florida to retain your driver's license? The first one, receiving a parking ticket. B, being at fault in a crash that results in hospitalization. C, failing to yield at the yield sign without causing an accident. So the correct answer here will be this one. Why? Because this one specifically, it refers to the one that we already spoke about. Since these ones are unknown, so in this case, it's not guaranteed that you will receive that type of ticket for you to complete this basic driver improvement course. And now let's talk about violations of a driver license law. So we will be talking about DUI, consent law, zero tolerance, drug-related offenses, littering, passing a stopped school bus, road damage violations, safety belts, speeding, school zones, and the point system. Introduction to DUI. What does that mean, DUI? Is driving under influence. Under influence of alcohol, controlled substances, or medications. Alcohol, I think that's everybody thinking of. However, controlled substances, which is drugs, are also here under the same charge, driving under influence, and medications as well. Again, controlled substances means drugs. So if the driver is under influence of drugs, it will be the same charges as driving under influence of alcohol. In Florida, it's exactly the same. In some states, they're different. Different charges depends of what type of influence it was. And here in Florida, it's exactly the same. Medications. Why they put here medications? It's a very important topic. Why? Because there's a lot of people who's buying medications or even over the counter. They do not check the side effects. So in case you have any medication that was subscribed or you buying it over the counter, ask the pharmacist, ask the doctor if you can actually drive while taking this medication. There's a lot of type of medications that causing drowsiness. And of course, do not drive like that if you feel like you're drowsy. You cannot just do it. Please don't do it when you're taking one of those medications that are causing the drowsiness. All right, so now we're going to talk about the license suspension. In what case you can get a license suspension? If you were stopped and your blood alcohol level is more than 0.08. This is a magical number that you must remember for your driver's license prep test, for your test. 0.08. So everything above that is license suspension automatically. And also, if you refuse to take a test, what does this mean? When we When we sign our driver's license in Florida, the moment we receive the driver's license and we sign for that, we sign actually for the fact that we can be tested, the driver can be tested for any type of influence, alcohol, controlled substances, and medication. In this case, which mean the driver was stopped and the police officer is asking you to take a test. It can be either the breath test, or it can be walking in a straight line, or anything like that. You actually have an option of saying no. You refuse to take the test. It's possible they will not do any test. However, it will be a license suspension. All right, let's talk about the question that you can receive on your test. What can result in a license suspension related to DUI in Florida? Having a blood alcohol level of 0.05. Okay, it doesn't show here. I'm sorry. B is refusing to take the test, or having the blood alcohol level 0.85. 0.08. And C, driving late at night with prescription medication. Okay, so we are going to talk about the first one. Having a blood alcohol level of 0.05. It does not. You cannot get a DUI for that, because it's supposed to be 0.08. Remember? 0.8. So this one is incorrect number. Refusing to take a test. This is exactly what we were talking about. The driver refused to take a test, or the driver's blood alcohol level is more than 0.08. Driving late at night with prescription medication, it does not cause anything. It doesn't say if it's affecting, not affecting, so it's just a wrong answer. So the correct answer will be B, refusing to take a test or having a blood alcohol level of 0.08. In the previous slide of DUI, we were talking about this implied consent law, about driver's license, that all the drivers, we agree automatically when we sign our driver's license that we can be tested to take a breath or blood or urine test if suspected of DUI. However, like I said previously, we can refuse this test. So there's actually only two refusals that you can make. So the first refusal will cause a 1 year suspension, 1 year of driver's license suspension. The second refusal, so in case you were stopped again with a valid driver's license and you say no again for any test, there will be 18 months suspension plus first degree misdemeanor. Mandatory blood test for cases involving death or serious injury. So in case of any accident that caused a death or serious injury, it will be mandatory. This type of tests will be mandatory, no matter you want it, the driver doesn't want it, doesn't matter what, it will be taken. All right, so now we're going to talk about the question that you can receive on your test. Under Florida's implied consent law, what is the penalty for refusing a breath, blood, or urine test for the first time? A, 6 months license suspension, B, 1 year license suspension, and C, 18 months license suspension. So the first one, which we spoke before, is going to be the first one. The first refusal of a 1 year suspension. It's going to be B. Correct answer is B. 6-month license suspension does not apply. It's just incorrect. 18-month license suspension is for the second refusal. So in this case, 1-year license suspension. Zero tolerance policy. It's for all the drivers under 21 years old. In case the person under 21 years old were stopped and the blood alcohol level is 0.02 or more, it will be license suspension of 6 months. If the blood alcohol level of 0.05 or more, there will be mandatory substance abuse course. That will be the driver must take mandatory. All right, so now let's talk about this question. The questions that you can receive on your test. What happens under Florida's zero tolerance policy if a driver under 21 has a blood alcohol level of 0.02 or higher? Mandatory jail time? No, not in this case. 6-month license suspension, and C, permanent license revocation. For that, there is no revocation for sure. And in this case, the correct answer will be B, 6-month license suspension. Drug-related offenses and consequences. Conviction for possession, sale, or trafficking in drugs, including marijuana, will result into license suspension. So in case of a driver was convicted for possession, sale, or trafficking in drugs, including marijuana, the license will be suspended. Vehicle seizure for drug-related transportation of felonies. Drug-related transportation, so which means the drugs were transported, the vehicle was used to transport the drugs. It also, it will be, for that, you will be charged with vehicle seizure. Doesn't look that good, right? All right, example of the question that you can receive. If someone is caught transporting cocaine in their car and the police arrest the person and seize the car, especially if they believe the car was intentionally used for illegal drug transport. So yes, that's what it means. And now the question, what is a possible consequence of being convicted for possession or sale of drugs in Florida? Community service only. Doesn't look like enough. So that's no. License suspension. Now it looks more real, this one. And traffic school requirements. It doesn't even say which one, so this is the wrong answer. So in this case, the correct answer will be license suspension. Littering laws and penalties. Actually, there's a lot of drivers who think that if they put some trash on the road, they just throw the trash from the car, and they think that there will be no charges for that. However, it does say in the Florida Driver's Handbook that there will be charges and penalties for that. All right, so let's talk about what it says here. Illegal to dump litter from a vehicle on the highway, roads, or streets. So which means everywhere. No matter if you throw this trash, like it's like this shows here, if you actually throwing away this trash on the highway, road, or streets, the penalties will be the same. What can be the penalties? If the driver is throwing a trash up to 15 pounds, there will be $100 fine. If it's over 15 pounds, I honestly cannot imagine what can be thrown more than 15 pounds from the car. It's the first degree misdemeanor or up to $1,000 fine, 3 points on driver's license, possibly community service, roadway cleanup. Okay, so a lot of penalties. What can be a question, more or less the question that looks similar? What is a penalty for littering more than 15 pounds from the vehicle in Florida? First, A, $100 fine and no points on your driver's license. B, first-degree misdemeanor, up to $1,000 fine, 3 points on your driver's license. And the C, warning and required to attend traffic school. Didn't say anything about this. And $100 fine, no points on your driver's license. Okay, so this is gonna be the correct answer is this one. Why? Because we just were speaking about this one. So over 15 pounds, the first-degree misdemeanor, up to $1,000 fine, 3 points on your driver's license. And like it says here, possible community service, roadway cleanup. Passing a stopped school bus, meaning the driver were, for example, here, like this driver is driving, and the school bus has this stop sign here, so which means the driver must stop behind the school bus and wait here. However, the driver passed, which is absolutely wrong. So that's what it means, passing a stopped school bus. When the school bus has a stop sign, it's still showing the lights, and you probably see the students going inside or outside. Passing a stop school bus is considered a moving violation. It requires to complete the basic driving improvement course. We already were talking about this previously. What can be the penalties for that, for passing a stop school bus? 4 points on your driver's license. The fine, $265 minimum, $265. Or another penalty that you can get is $465 minimum fine for passing on side where children exit or enter. So this one is even worse. So in this case, the driver actually saw those children that were getting out or into the school bus. What the question that you can get on your test? What are the penalties for passing the stop school bus in Florida? All right, so the first one, the A, says 2 points on your driver's license and $100 fine. B is 4 points on your driver's license, a $265 minimum fine, and possibly $465 for passing a school sign when children enter or exit, and 6 points on driver's license and a $500 fine. Does not say anything about $500 fine. In here, 2 points on your driver's license, which is incorrect. In this case, the correct answer will be B, 4 points on your driver's license. $265 minimum fine, and possibly of $465 for passing a school bus when children enter or exit. So B. Road damage violations. In Florida, it is illegal to damage roads, including driving on a flat tire. So which means if a driver has a flat tire, they cannot drive like this. The tire must be fixed in order to start driving and to continue driving, or the vehicle can be towed. But again, no way to continue driving. Road damage violations, road damage is considered as a traffic violation. And now we're going to talk about more or less the alternative questions for your Florida permit test. Which of the following is a consequence of damaging roads in Florida, such as driving on a flat tire rim? A. Consider a minor traffic violation with a $50 fine and no points on the license. B. Considered a traffic violation, a driver may face penalties for road damage, but no mandatory driving improvement course. And the B. Consider a traffic violation that may result in a fine, points on the license, and possible additional penalties for damaging infrastructure. So here in this case, it will be this one, the C. It's considered as traffic violation that may result in a fine, points, or points on licenses, possible additional penalties for damaging infrastructure. Safety belts. What a nice picture that shows that everybody in the car must use their safety belts, no matter what. It also applies to the front passengers and to the back passengers as well. What's the importance of safety belts? Well, they reduce the risk of fatal injury in crashes. Meaning, when in crashes, the crashes can be so serious, they can be so damageable. They can be so damageable that if the driver or passenger does not wear a seatbelt, they will be just literally thrown out from the car, jumped from the car and from the windshield. It's very, very, very dangerous. Everybody should wear their seatbelts. Prevent ejection from the vehicle. This is what I was just talking about. It can happen in case if the person is not using the seatbelt. Protect against impact with passenger, steering wheel, and windshield. We just spoke about the windshield. Steering wheel, it's for a driver. So if the driver is not using their seatbelt, like it says here, like on this picture, for example, there will be no seatbelt. In case of the crash, the driver will face or will get their chest exactly into the steering wheel and can hurt himself or herself. Help maintain vehicle control. So you stay here and you do not move anywhere else. Proper use. What's the proper use of the safety belts? I put it here. Why? Because on the test, it can be a question about how to use the safety belt. What's the proper use? You need to know how to use it properly. And in Florida Driver's Handbook, it does say how to use it properly. So here it is. The lap belt around the hips. So now we're talking about this part, the one that's here. And also here, this one. And the shoulder belt across chest, not behind the back. There's a lot of people who trying to put their seat belt, like this part, and they try to put it behind the back, which is totally incorrect and not safe at all. You should never do this. So you need to put your seat belt around your hips and then shoulder belt around your chest, not in the back. And another very interesting topic is that airbags are not a substitute for seatbelts, which mean if you have airbags installed into your car, it doesn't mean you don't need to use a seatbelt, or vice versa. I'm gonna use the seatbelt, but I'm gonna turn off my airbags off. Totally wrong. Both are for everybody's safety, for driver safety and for passenger safety. So in this case, it needs to be used, both of them. The airbags and the seatbelts, they cannot be substituted. All right, so now we will talk about the questions that you can have on your permit test. The question number 1: What is one of the main benefits of wearing a safety belt during a crash? A, it increases fuel efficiency, which is totally wrong, has nothing to do with reality. B, it prevents a vehicle from rolling over. No, it doesn't prevent vehicle from rolling over. And C, it reduces the risk of fatal injury and prevents ejection from the vehicle. So this one will be correct answer. Question number 2, how should a seat belt be properly worn for maximum effectiveness? Remember, we were talking about the way how you should put your seatbelt on, how you should use it, what's the correct usage of it. A, lap belt across the stomach, shoulder belt under the arm. Totally incorrect. You cannot use it under the arm. B, lap belt around the hips, shoulder belt around the chest. So this one looks very accurate. And the C, both lap and shoulder belts behind the back. You never put your seatbelt behind your back. And question number 3, which of the following is true regarding airbags and seatbelts? Airbags replace the need of seatbelts. No, totally incorrect. Airbags are only needs in rear end collision. Totally incorrect. And airbags are not substitute for seatbelts. So this will be correct answer, C. Child passenger safety. So now we're going to talk about the safety of the passengers using the seatbelt. So children under 13 years old should ride in a rear seat to avoid airbag-related injuries. If the person is under 13 years old, they must drive on the back seat, not in the front seat. Never place a rear-facing car seat in front of the airbag, meaning it's for toddlers, and in the toddler seat can be either rear-facing or forward-facing. This seat cannot be installed rear-facing in front of the airbag, which means it's the front seat. So here in the front, so right next to the driver, it cannot facing this way. It cannot be facing rear. And here it also says parents, guardians must provide child restraints in hired vehicles, meaning if parents are with the child decided to go, for example, for a ride, and they decided to take a taxi or Uber, and they go inside the car and there is no provided car seat, who is responsible? In this case, parents, not the taxi driver. And now we'll talk about the question that the similar question, more or less similar question that can be on your written test. A family hires a car service to take them to the airport. They are traveling with their 3-year-old child. Who's responsible for providing the appropriate child restraint? The car seat. The driver of the hired vehicle. Wrong. They're not obligated to provide anything. The car service company, also wrong, because they're not responsible for that. And C, the child's parent or guardian. So this will be a correct answer, C. Florida seatbelt laws. Now we're talking about in details about who is responsible, in what age, in all these things. Mandatory in Florida that everybody should have their seatbelt on. All drivers and front seat passengers, which means all drivers in Florida and front seat passengers for sure needs to wear a seatbelt. Passengers under 18 must wear it too, mandatory. No matter they want it or not. Child restraint requirements. So under 4 years old, the safety seat required. So something like this, like the toddler seat. Ages 4-5, safety seat or booster seat required. Booster seat is the one that has just this part, the bottom part. And okay, let's talk about the violations. Drivers responsible for unrestrained passengers under 18, passengers who are 18 or more years old are personally responsible. Exceptions: cars before 1968, trucks before 1972. Okay, so let me talk about this in more specific. In case there are passengers under 18 years old in the car and they're not wearing their seatbelt, the responsible person for them will be the driver, not the person itself. Only the driver in this case. And if the passenger is 18 or over, they are personally responsible for not wearing a seatbelt. Exceptions. What does this mean? So cars before 1968 and trucks before 1962 does not have the actual seatbelts. So if you drive one of those cars, you're not required to have a seatbelt on. We have more questions about the safety belts. Let's talk about them. There's actually a lot of questions, a lot of things that you should know about the safety belts. Question number 1. Who is legally required to wear a seatbelt in Florida? Only the driver and passenger under 18 years old, all drivers and front seat passengers, plus all passengers under 18, only passengers in the front seat. It cannot be passengers in the front seat only. That's impossible. Only drivers and passengers under 18. That's not true. Everybody else should wear it too. So in this case, the correct answer will be B, all drivers and front seat passengers plus all passengers under 18. This is correct answer. Question number 2. Who is held responsible if a 10-year-old passenger is not wearing a seatbelt? The passenger, the vehicle manufacturer, the driver. Okay, so now we're talking about, remember that law that if the person is under 18, the responsible will be the driver. There we go. So the responsible person for that will be the driver, not the passenger in this case itself, and neither the vehicle manufacturer. All right, so next one is the question number 3. Which vehicle is exempt from Florida's seatbelt law? A 1975 sedan, 1965 car, or 2010 pickup truck? The one that we were talking before, exemptions, so it will be this one, not a 1965 sedan and 2010 pickup truck. Does not apply here. And another set of questions, so it should be separated. So the question number 1, you're driving a car manufactured in 2015 with a 3-year-old niece in the backseat. What are you legally required to do? Make sure she's wearing a seatbelt. Ensure she's in federally approved child safety seat. Let her sit without the restraint since she's in the back. That cannot happen. You cannot just put child in the back in the back seat and just assume that there will be nothing else that you need to do. No, you need to put them in a child seat, right? Make sure she's wearing a seatbelt. Well, seatbelt for 3-year-old does not go. You just won't be able. You just won't be able to put the child. I mean, the seatbelt on the 3-year-old. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit properly. It doesn't fit correctly. So the correct answer will be B. Ensure she is in the federally approved child safety seat. And question number 2, a 19-year-old passenger is sitting in front of in the front seat in your car without a seatbelt. Who will be cited if you're pulled over? So meaning you were stopped by the police officer. You, the driver, the 19-year-old passenger, neither. Seatbelts aren't required over 18, which is totally not true. And not the driver. The correct answer will be the passenger itself. So anybody over 18 are responsible. They are responsible for themselves. All right, so question number 3, you are driving a truck built in 1971. Your front seat passenger is 25 and not wearing a seatbelt. Are you violating the law? It says, the first one says no, the vehicle is exempt. Yes, remember we spoke about this before. Yes, all trucks must comply with regardless of age. Not true. Remember, we have exceptions. No, because the passenger is over 18. It doesn't mean anything. So in this case, the correct answer will be this one. The A, no, the vehicle is exempt due to its manufacturing year. Speeding. Everyone should obey the speed limit signs. That's mandatory. It doesn't matter what kind of vehicle you drive. Everybody should obey the speed limit signs. All motorists must obey speed limits and are responsible for knowing the speed limit on the roadway. So in case you're stopped and you don't know what was the speed limit, and apparently you were over the speed limit, you are still responsible for the violation. In Florida, the speed limit will never be higher than 70 miles per hour. 70. So this is the maximum speed limit. A speeding citation can result in fines and points on your driver's record. The speeding buffer is a myth. So what does that mean? There's a lot of drivers actually think that it's okay to drive a little bit over the speed limit. However, this is totally not true. It's totally wrong. So what does the Florida Driver's Handbook say? The speeding buffer is a myth. You are not allowed to drive up to 10 miles per hour over the speed limit and you still may receive a citation for speeding. You're just not allowed. There's no buffer, there's no zone, there's no additional speed limits. If it says 70, it's meaning actually 70. It doesn't mean you can drive 80. No, it's only 70. So the speeding buffer is a myth. And now we're going to look at the question, at the example of the question. You are driving at 48 miles per hour in a 40 mile per hour speed limit zone, assuming it's safe and okay. Let me tell you now, it's not safe and it's not okay. An officer pulls you over. What can legally happen? You cannot be cited because you're under the 10 mile per hour buffer. So it does not exist. 10 mile per hour buffer does not exist. You may receive a speeding citation as there's no legal speeding buffer. This will be the correct answer. And the officer must give a verbal warning before issuing a citation. Totally incorrect. So in this case, the correct answer will be B. Again, in this situation, you were driving on a speed limit zone that is 40, and you were driving 48, which is illegal. Now let's talk a little bit about school zones. In this case, we're going to talk about the violations at the school zones. Just a reminder, the school zones here in Florida, this is how it looks. This is how they look like. So when you go inside, you will see the signs, and it will tell you the speed limit that you're supposed to drive, and also the time and the dates that it's in use. So it will be active or non-active. In this case, this is the active time. And also there is a flashing light here. Once you pass the school zone, you will see end school zone sign. This is what you need to wait for. So between this sign here and this sign, you're supposed to drive, in this case, 15 miles per hour, 7 to 9 a.m., 1:30 to 4:30 p.m., except Wednesday, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. It tells you all the information here that you need to know. After you pass the sign, it says after you pass the end school sign, then you can go with 30 miles per hour. All right, so active school zones. A school zone is considered active, it says here, when warning lights are flashing, that's the ones that we were talking about, or posted limits indicate that children are arriving or leaving school. During this time, reduced speed limit, usually 15, are strictly enforced, and fines for violations such as speeding or using a cell phone are significantly increased. In this case, they go double. The ticket will be doubled for violation, for speed limit violation. Non-school zones. When the lights are not flashing and the zone is outside the posted active hours, normal speed limits apply. So which mean if the school zone is non-active, those lights are not working, this is not the dates and times. For example, it's Sunday clearly and it's a beautiful sunny day on Sunday, you do not need to go and maintain the speed of 15 miles per hour. You can drive with the previous speed limit sign. So let's say it was 30 miles per hour. So you continue driving 30 miles per hour. You do not need to slow down. However, drivers should still remain cautious as children may be present outside regular hours or hours for activities. Yes, you will see sometimes that the schools are open for additional classes, so they have some activities at school. So that's why you should look around and make sure there's no children outside. Be cautious, and maybe you will need to slow down a little bit if they're children presented very close to the road. So it's better to slow down and make sure nothing happens. Fines are doubled. Yes, it can actually happen that if you, for example, you received a ticket and the fine will be doubled. When the speeding infractions occur within a school zone or construction zone. So if you drive and violate violate the speeding law on school zone or construction zone, the speeding ticket, the fine, will be doubled with possible civil penalties up to $1,000, and you can be required to complete the driving course. It's very serious. So if you see that the school zone is active, and then also if you pass in by a construction zone, it says speed limit 10 specifically. Here it says 15. You must obey those signs. You must observe, of course, and obey those signs. So let's talk about the example. You're caught driving 15 miles per hour over the speed limit in an active school zone. So which means instead of 15, you were driving 30. And it was an active school zone. What consequences might you face? A standard fine with no additional penalties? No, that cannot be already, because this is already double. First of all, it's a lot more, and you will be fined double. B, doubled fine and possible requirement to complete the driving course. And C, warning only since it's a school zone. That's incorrect. In this case, the correct answer will be B. In Florida, we have something that's called point system. There are no infractions that can cause the loss of restriction of your driving privileges. You receive points for moving violations. If you accumulate too many points in a certain period of time, your license will be suspended and can be revoked. If a driver receives 12 points within 12-month period, the license will be suspended for 30 days. If the driver receives 18 points within 18-month period, the license will be suspended for 3 months. If the driver receives 24 points within 36-month period, the license will be suspended for 1 year. Very serious, and please observe and obey all the laws. This is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. It was a pleasure to present it for you. My name is Ekaterina Carrasco, and I'm waiting for you here in Best Driving School. We're located in Miami, Florida. If you need to do your written test, driving test, or you want to take classes, please let us know on bestdrivingschoolfl.com or 786-616-9381. Don't forget to study for a prep test, the actual prep test that we have available online on our website, to master your knowledge before you go for your written test. And I wish you good luck for your test.